What's going on, Boulder? We got our guy Deuce the Scoop here on site. We got to talk about the combine, man, and the experience and everything. Deuce, man, thanks for coming on.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, man. You know, we like to come here, we like to kick and talk some ball, dog. And make sure you hit the like, subscribe button. Check out Duke's channel. He's building a monster over there, Deuce the Scoop here on YouTube. I have the link in the description below. We're gonna have some fun here today. Hey man, so you into the combine, dog. First off, I know you dropped a video on it earlier today. Make sure y'all check that out as well. It's also linked in the description. But man, you gotta give us some insight, man. What's it like walking around? Because I know you've been before, but what was it like going out there as an independent and being able to see all these high end Colorado Buffalo players run around?
Man, it was cool being able to go independently. Last year I went as a member of media, so I had a company to represent. This year I went just representing myself. I do some consulting on the side, so being able just to slide around and meet with different people, different camps, and get people's opinions on people. Well, where I was able to get into some places that I wasn't able to get to because when you're with the media company, so to speak, or more traditional media, the people are less likely to open up because they don't want to see a headline. Well, now it's
Yeah.
like it seems more like I'm just talking to my guy Dukes, and so that was fun to be able to just move around freely. And yeah, man, I got a chance to spend some time with Travis, super cool guy. Shout out to Bug for making that happen. LaJohntay and LaJohntay's agent is Aaron Lockett from
Oh.
Kansas State back in the day. Yeah, Aaron Lockett, Tyler
Yeah,
Lockett.
Tulsa boys. I'm born and raised in Tulsa. Went to Booker T.
Yeah,
Washington as well, so I know them cats.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Aaron Lockett is LaJohntay's agent, man. So that was cool. Got to link in with those guys. So yeah, man, just a really good overall experience, and I'm ready to go again next year.
Heck yeah, man. Heck yeah. Okay, so from there, man, the rumbles, of course, are going around. I dropped a video on Sunday because I've been hearing over a couple of days about Sheduer. We'll start with him and work our way through some of the stars there. And so with the Sheduer piece, there was the confidence was there, right? You see him at the presser. He reminding everybody, hey man, I do this. This is what I do. Legendary is my moniker. That's what I go with, blah, blah, blah. And what was kind of the feeling and vibe you felt when, around Sheduer, especially the fact that he didn't participate, but he was always around with his teammates. What was the vibe like with that?
Leader and his daddy, almost like the confidence, the swagger of his father at a quarterback position is something that a team is going to look at and say, man, we knew who Deion Sanders was. We knew how you game plan, but Deion Sanders made the people around him better as well. He raised the level of play, not just because of what he did on the field, but what he did off the field, how he prepared, how early he was for practice, how early he was for film sessions, how much film he watched on his own. Knowing that you're going to get that type of pedigree from a quarterback, yeah, it absolutely makes a team think like, you know what, this is the type of guy that we want leading our franchise into the next phase of the legacy of that franchise. So Sheduer did nothing but help himself. The confidence is there, and he's going to back it up. The consensus is that pro day, when you're a top quarterback, you usually don't throw. Now,
Yeah.
the quarterbacks who did throw, I don't think anybody went out there and just like lit it up to the point where it's like, oh no, like nah, you'd be a fool, like and don't miss. And that's basically what he let you know. He's like, look, if you can get over the name on the back of my jersey, if you don't like me, if you can get over that name and just look at my body of work, but then you got to think about it. That name holds weight as well. So there are some
It
people who may
does.
not like who Deion Sanders was and how he kicked it himself, but you can never take away from what he did and how he did it. So knowing that that's the pedigree that you're getting, this ain't just one of Prime's players. This is the actual child. He developed. So absolutely, and I think teams, even the teams where you get the rumblings of, oh well, they want to know how he's going to do without his dad. I'm like, oh, he is his dad. Like
Yeah.
he may not be as flashy, but yeah, you can see that same confidence running through his veins and in his eyes. And I think he did a great job of representing himself and his family well at the combine.
I can see that. It's funny because the video I dropped talking about, um, earlier this week I dropped one about people thinking that Sheduer may be dropping in the draft. Then another one, Chris Carter, NFL Hall of Famer. Make sure I check that out on the channel. He told a pretty insane story about Sheduer. And what jumped out to me on it, though, Dukes, and it was basically what you said a minute ago, is that he's known for coming in early, watching a ton of film. He's always working, and he's always like turned on the professionalism side of it. And what Chris Carter's story basically was, he got in the car that his driver that takes Sheduer around. His driver took Chris Carter around, and nobody knew this. Like, Sheduer didn't know this was going to happen or anything. But whenever Chris Carter was talking to the driver was like, he's like, man, Sheduer's always early. He's pushing his brothers to make sure they're early and at least on time. The way he prepares his clothing, it's a meticulous piece of true professionalism and leadership. And Chris is like, hey, man, I don't see him ever having a problem going to an NFL franchise and being the face, because just as you said, and Sheduer even said it himself, Pops has been him, who he is, and I've been around that my whole life. I understand how to play the game, for lack of better terms. He gets that, and it showed. It showed in his confidence and, I guess, his quote-unquote swagger when he was up there talking to folks. Like, why would I be scared of criticism? Why would I be scared of criticism? Yeah, I pretend like I haven't listened to this stuff my entire life, which is kind of wild if you really think about it.
Yeah, he was born for the moment. I see a lot of that in Julian Lewis as well. When you have people that have seen that light from a young age and they've lived under it, why would those lights scare you now? Why would 80,000 people scare you now? You've had people watch your every step a lot of times since you've had a football in your hands. Like, even when Sheduer wasn't as ranked as highly, no one got the type of media coverage that Sheduer did as a 4-star quarterback. Even when he came, look at all the guys who were ranked in front of him. None of them had Sheduer's cachet of media spotlight. So when you think about what Sheduer has come from and who he is and why he acts the way he does, the way he carries himself, it's because he was born for the moment, and and literally he was born into it. So of course it's second nature for him to perform when the lights are the brightest.
And that's exactly what you would expect. And I love him talking about the culture change. I think that's probably a conversation that a lot of people don't recognize that's just as critical. Colin Cowherd said that not too long ago. He mentioned that what he feels like helps Sheduer the most, truly, and this is me paraphrasing, that he didn't play at a school with a whole bunch of 5-star talent. We'll just say, for lack of better terms. Not that the players he played with were bad, just it wasn't a loaded squad like those Alabama teams we've seen in them Georgia teams. He played with guys he had to build up with himself. Like, he built himself up, he would build them up, and they play good ball. They just weren't undefeated. And so it was one of those where Sheduer understands that there's going to be challenges around in getting a wide receiver up to speed, a running back to block and not miss a block, or offensive line to shift their protection properly. And because of that, that kind of equips him a lot better for the NFL, because once you get up there with the top 1% of the 1%, and those dudes, they struggle against each other just because talent is talent, you're not going to have wide open dudes to throw to all the time. You're going to have to throw guys open. And he saw that in Sheduer, being able to do that. But the culture piece was even more important, just as you said. He comes in with a leadership mentality. I mean, Prime was like that too. Like, if there's one thing you could say about Coach Prime in his playing days, is that you can never say that he was lazy. Right? You could never say that. You could never say that Deion Sanders didn't give you effort. The way it looked like it was a little effort, but the way Deion Sanders played ball was, I'm going to shut down this side of the field, and I want you to be stupid enough to throw it at me. Go ahead. And teams recognize that's how you had that dude on the island. That's why he was considered one of the best to ever play the position, like Chad Bailey. And even Darrelle Revis, as he grew into his game, he was up there. Rod Woodson. You didn't throw their side of the field because you didn't know where they were at. Even if they're chasing a receiver up the field, dude could press and run right back. Which leads to another topic. We're talking to our guy Dukes, the Scoops, here on the channel. Dukes, we appreciate you pulling up. Travis Hunter, man. You said you got to meet him in person, hang out with him or whatnot. Mina Kimes talked about this, and she thinks he could be an all-pro corner within the first couple of years in the NFL if he picked corner instead of wide receiver. is that far-fetched?
Not at all. When you look at what Travis was able to do, his body of work shows that he could be more of a traditional zone corner with man attributes. And so for someone who understands the intricacies of playing trap or playing or leaving a deep third or shadowing someone else's side of the field to bait and having that type of wherewithal to be able to do that. And people think that Travis is just Colorado played a ton of man, right? But they just think his ball skills overshadow how good he is in zone. Just because he can play stick and he can get inside your hip. When he gets into a system and they know that they can really scheme it, and you've got guys who can help him more. When you talk about, let's say he plays next to a more rangy safety, or he has a linebacker that can cover that deep third, Travis is going to be able to, curl flat. Travis is going to be able to take more chances, and that's what makes him great. When he sees something, he follows his nose and he says, I'm going to find the ball. That's where Travis Hunter is at his best, and I think he'll be able to do that more in the NFL. So being able to create turnovers, when the ball is close to his hands, he makes a play, and the way that he contorts his body to make a is insane, and we haven't seen anybody like that in a while. So yeah, I think she was spot on when she said that, and I agree wholeheartedly.
Yeah, that's exactly what I looked at when I watch him play. Is that TCU play is still stupid. First play at the D1 level, we really got to watch him because I watched him at Jackson State and I saw the talent there. But the nation got to watch him when they played against TCU, and they realized, oh no, this dude really is different. And he says that he wants to play both sides of the ball. Look, I am in the camp of Bomani Jones and saying this. He said this on the right time this week. I ain't playing both sides of the ball unless you give me 2 checks. That's a little much. I mean, you think about the work. I get that playing both sides of the ball is cool because, like I said, he's different. Nobody else has done it. But man, can I get some of that wide receiver check money too to go along with that cornerback check money? Especially if he could find a way, which I think it's going to be so hard to do. I'm not saying he can't. It can be hard to do. But if he found a way to be all pro on both sides of the ball, at that point, that's when you renegotiate your contracts and saying, I need checks on both sides.
Well, and the second part of that is when you think about the guys who get the marketing deals, the guys that you see with the commercials usually don't play defense. So that's for him to go get that, to go on the other side of the field and say, all right, well, let me go catch a couple of touchdowns. You score touchdowns, usually you recognize the face, you get to take the helmet off, the camera follows you. So if he does I would say win. When he does, you're going to see, even contractually, first of all, he's going to be an anomaly where, and I see it in a way where, let's say the average guy's franchise, imagine having to be franchised at 2 positions.
Ooh.
Even if you took a discount for your other position, let's say he plays 30% of the snaps. And what I was told was going into the draft, and the consensus is that if he goes to play DB, it will probably be more like a 70. You would want something in the 70-30 to 75-25, where he would play majority of defense and about 25-30% because the snaps, as he gets, even though he took 1,400 snaps this year?
Yeah.
Patrick Surtain took 1,100, only playing one side of the ball. So the game is long. You play more, right? More games. You did it for 12 games in Colorado, where you got 17 playoffs. I mean, it's a grind. So, but I think he can do it. He can. And even if you were to get 70, even if you were to, you have to pay him like an all-pro corner. You got to give him another extra 30 for that 30%. We need about 30% whatever Jamar Chase get on this side. And when you look at what he provides, you get 2 players for one. It's fair. So he's going to be the first person ever that we see get paid the way he played. To literally play, not just packages.
Mm-hmm.
This guy eventually will go both ways on the field, and I'm excited to see it, man. What a time to be alive.
Yeah, I agree, man. This is amazing to be able to even witness all of this. We're really witnessing greatness. Shout out to LeBron James on that. I'm curious to how well. Honestly, put it this way: I wonder if he's going to start studying Lamar Jackson more in the art of not getting lit up.
Mm.
And I say that because wide receiver, man, corners are gonna try to find ways to clock you. Like that's I mean, linebackers are ready for you. Safeties are gonna try to get the helmet in your chest. But if you do it like, actually, truth be told, Tyler Lockett, who does a really good job of it now, Tulsa stand up, he does a good job of avoiding getting hit hard. Lamar's probably the most. He's the best magician in the NFL to where dude never gets hit hard. Like he gets hit hard in the pocket, but if he scrambles, he ain't getting hit hard. He knows how to contort, like I said, contorting the body to where he gets down and it's like, oh, okay, that was a tackle. Like no one gets to level him like people think. Like, of course, that was always the knock on him is that, oh, they're gonna just hit him and so hard he's gonna get hurt from it. It's like, no, he's more likely to get hurt in the pocket like other quarterbacks than scrambling because that dude knows how to move. Wonder if Travis Hunter's gonna have to study that to be able to make sure that he don't get hit hard. Because man, I know people gonna gun for him. But that's the game. That's the competitive nature. I want to knock this dude out and let's see how tough is he really. But I agree with you, man. I think if he pulls a 70-30, if this dude can find a way to make himself an all-pro at wide receiver or just a pro bowler and be an all-pro at corner.
Yeah, dual pro bowler, like I can see that. Yeah, for sure. I remember Deshaun Jackson made the Pro Bowl at special teams and wide receiver one year. He was a returner and a receiver. I think yeah, even with the way they do the Pro Bowl now, I mean Drake made no respect to him, but he made the Pro Bowl, bro. Like
yeah. It's a people's popularity contest, man. Especially because they always get reserves. They replace people that can't play or whatnot. So, and it's also really an indictment on you as we talk in the NFL a little bit. It's a little indictment on you if you never make a Pro Bowl. Because dudes always sit out, right? And there's always the next guy up, the reserve guy. You ain't make no Pro Bowls, man. Hey, look, you especially at certain positions, you better question your legacy. But so I'm guessing the attention there, though, at the combine was heavy, Travis. Right? Yeah. Was it just busy?
Yeah. Travis had a ton of stops to make, different brand activations. Like right now, he's one of the most marketable people that you in the country in the football space. I don't know who you can market more than the Travis Hunter at this space. So for whether it was Adidas or New Era, his company Young Money, his agency does a great job of making sure that he's in the right spaces. They had a launch party with New Era at the combine. Wayne had a concert. Like it was a lot going on. So yeah, Travis had to move around, but he was focused, man. Like he was learning. He's a football nerd, man. Like he loves ball. Like he watches so much film. Even when I talked to him, like bro, he was on his phone watching ball.
And that's I think that's the most amazing thing about him and Sheduer in conversations that people. It's not that people don't realize, people don't want to acknowledge that everyone is telling you the same thing about both. Dudes are junkies when it comes to the game. Like that's all they do. And I had a conversation with my son about that. He's about to go to his senior year of high school. We was talking about that yesterday. And I was like, I mean, if you decide you want to play college soccer, the obsession needs to start now. Like you need to be constantly watching and learning ball because either you can play at the collegiate level, pay for school, get by. You could play at the collegiate level and try to get into coaching, which requires all the studying, or you can play at the collegiate level and try to go play overseas, which really requires it. So I was like, you may as well start the habits now if that's what you want to do. And he's like, yeah, I'm trying to debate if I really want to play, if I want to commit that much time because the time commitment is absurd for athletes at the next level. People think that they just kicking it out. Nah, it's life. And that's where you see the difference with Travis Hunter and Sheduer compared to others. What is life?
Yeah,
Get me a phone. Let me watch how bad in this play I did and where I can adjust things. And they didn't even participate in the workouts. That should tell you something, dog. That's bananas for me. All right, we chopping up with Deuce to Scoop here on YouTube. Hey, man, let me ask you about LaJohntay, Jimmy, and Jimmy Hunter, man. How you feel about them at the combine?
They did a great job. I think some people were disappointed. They were thinking they would have saw faster times, but LaJohntay ran what he was supposed to run. 4.46 is a good time for LaJohntay. Jimmy Horn ran faster in pre-draft. I got a good interview on my page with their pre-draft trainer, Steph Brown, of Top Shelf. Man, shout out to Steph. But I spent some time with Steph at the combine, and he was telling me some of their times. Like Jimmy was thinking for sure he was running 4.3. Like he's a 4.3 that his
Okay.
technique and start. Like he still needs to continue to work on that technique in the start. But if you saw how fast he gets to top speed, and he was one of the few people that decreased their time on their second run.
That's true.
Look at about 70% of the second runs, and that's a base number. I mean, that it's not exact, but around about 70% of people on their second runs did not decrease their times. But Jimmy did. I feel like if he would have had another 40 to run, he probably would have got closer to that 4.3. And I think he's gonna go 4.3 at pro day. He had been running. Now his pre-draft times have been sporadic, where he ran some 4.4s, but he ran some 4.3s, some low. So all he got to do is just hit the nail on the head, and he's gonna run 4.3. But I think the most important part was his explosion, where his 10-yard split was top 6. His vertical was top 6, and his broad jump was top 6. So all that does is lend to. Matter of fact, I know it's vertical and it's broad. Excuse me. I got to go back and check on that 10-yard. But those are explosive numbers. So when you look at the explosion, when you look at the correlation between having a good, that's why they do the broad jump. Like how often you see somebody jump a long way on the football field? They don't. Nobody's doing a broad jump on the field. But it's the measure of explosion, and he proved he's explosive. And I think that with him being a punt returner / and both of them can help you in a run game. In a return game. I think Jimmy did so much. Caught the ball with his hands. Had a perfect gauntlet. Ran and looked. His acceleration was jumping off. You can see it through the drills. But LaJohntay on the other hand was somebody who comes in. He runs 4.46 as well. Ran a little better than some people. People thought he was a 4.5. He won. Seeing how his accel and decel, so one of the most important routes to run is going to be that deep out. He doesn't decelerate when he goes into his deep out. Like he runs some of the prettiest routes that we saw at the entire combine. His field work was impressive. He really helped himself in opening, and people got to see him up close and personal. That's why he got a combine invite.
Yeah,
that's not a favor. So the combine process is a certain amount of teams have to call, and they get a form, and they say the guys they want to see, and you have to be in that number on at least I don't know if the number is 10 or 12 teams, but 12 teams have to want to see you and use that slot on their form. So there's interest from multiple teams that want to see you in person, and so for you to go and show up, because they do their scouting, they knew that he had some slot potential. But now you go and you see him up close and personal, and you say he can play on the perimeter. This guy may be Antonio Brown. Like so, not like same profile. Antonio Brown, mid-round pick. I know that's lofty praise, but when you hear the comparisons, if you were to take somebody who had a similar game, not to say that he will perform at that level, because Antonio Brown really has his numbers say Hall of Fame, to be honest. But LaJohntay fits that profile, so I think they both really did well and set themselves up I don't know if LaJohntay runs again. I don't think he doesn't. I don't think he has to look. Only reason Jimmy don't have to run again. He wants to because he knows he's 4.3.
Yeah.
LaJohntay ain't got to run no more.
No, and that's fair. Like LaJohntay, the numbers were 4.46, 32-inch vertical, 10-1 broad jump, 1.53 10-yard split. Woo! And then Jimmy's was 4.46 as well, 38-inch vertical, the 10.8 broad jump. Like you said, it's measuring explosiveness. You don't care about that number. You don't need the long jump. You want to know how explosive they can be. 1.54 10-yard split. He shaves that down and gets himself into the 4.3. And you're right. He probably jumping in the draft.
No. He's explosive, man. You can tell, and I think he showed it.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I watching the gauntlets, man. Ooh, just kicked you with that. Yeah, they ate. That's gonna be big for them. Pro day should be good because that's when Sheduer is going to throw. You'll be able to see the routes. You'll be able to see the connection. And truth be told, man, throwing to wide receivers you don't know, trying to get your timing down, totally understand that people want to see if you can do that. But at the same time, man, you still got practice. These dudes will go to the beach and practice running routes together to understand each other's speed and timing. So I don't know why you have to do it at the combine. I saw why that Cam Ward didn't throw. It was only Sheduer and Cam that didn't because it didn't make much sense for either one. The truth be told, you seen them on the field. What's the point? What additional? You're gonna see. Oh, can you throw to wide receivers you don't know? Well, they're gonna start learning them when they get them on the practice field in the NFL. They're not going to just start playing in the game and be like, "Oh, I've never seen you before. I'm gonna go ahead and just go on the field and see how this works." Nah, they gonna train together, so it makes sense.
I'm gonna drop a little bit of a bar.
Go get it to me.
This is one of these uncle bars. You know, I'm an uncle now. With your body of work comes with perks. When a quarterback has done what Cam Ward and Sheduer Sanders have done, when a quarterback has done what Caleb Williams did, has done what Drake May did, you earn that cachet where you don't have to throw at the combine, and that's for guys who don't have that same resume, or that same body of work, whether it be traits that you've shown or the actual numbers. You afforded yourself a break at the combine to throw with your preferred targets at your own individual workout, and that's what you earned. And I think that Cam and Sheduer were well within their right to not throw, and I think it was actually a good decision because everybody else, you're being pressed. It's not running from competition. You earned it. Yep. And as you see, like that, and that opened up opportunity for people to come try to take their spots, and nobody did it.
No, that's a very fair point. That's true. And like you said, you get those perks because that body of work has already been shown. People understand, okay, we've seen what you can do. Why do I need to go through that again? So spot on, man. Spot on. We're talking to Deuce the Scoop here on YouTube. Check out his channel, link in the description below. Deuce, got a question for you. I talk a little bit about the young boys. You mentioned Julian Lewis and young boys. I know you dropped a video on could Julian take the starting job day one. And I've been looking at between him and Caden Salter. I'm only leaning Caden because of the experience, but I know Juju has the talent. How you feel that battle is going in training right now?
I mean, right now, you just got to be impressed with Caden, with his experience, and you're impressed with Julian's potential, and that's where it is: experience versus potential. We'll see which one wins. But a lot of people think that job is going to be handed to Caden Salter. It's not. Julian's going to push him 1,000% all the way until the end of camp. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, everybody knows what makes sense. You go with the traditional thinking is you go with the guy who started on the power forward level, and that's the guy you go with. You just can't count Julian out. Like you just can't. Now, so I think the healthy thing would be for him to learn, and he will get an opportunity, but he gonna get some reps with the ones, and we'll see who does the best. He's one of those kids that I've been watching a long time. And every time that he took a jump up in competition, he always performed. Now, has he done it at this level? No, but shoot, the man was playing 7A football state championship at 14 years old. So it ain't a whole lot you can tell me. The man, like everything he did, I think he's 7th all time in the state of Georgia passing yards in 3 years.
That's pretty darn good.
Yeah, no, Ju different. So, the average freshman, no, he's not the average freshman. He's not. So if you think that he's not gonna push Caden Salter, you say I'm mistaken. I think Salter welcomes the competition. Yeah, he's gonna teach him. He's gonna help teach him because there's some things that he can learn from him. So I look forward to it. Almost like I wouldn't say now the way the Falcons season, I got to slide my Falcons in there, but the way the Falcons but having a Kirk Cousins who had that experience, that's how they got off to that 6-2 start. And then some things happen. Kirk gets injured, and you were able to come in with the young guy. And the young guy, Michael Penix gave you the hope for the future. You can see something like that happen in Colorado.
Yeah, I can totally see that as well. Now, that's actually what I was thinking about too. Is Salter is going to come in day one just because he's ran from Oregon's defenses. You know, he's done a lot. He went undefeated at Liberty. He did some big stuff. And as the season progresses, Juju gets not only the confidence, but get the playbook down and the timing down with the young receivers that they end up. There's a chance that he could end up moving his way in there, depending on how Caden plays or whatnot. So yeah, no, I totally agree. You would think that you would want to play the experienced guy. I think what helps Caden is the dual threat capabilities that we've actually watched him do. You know what I mean? He was a 4-star prospect at Tennessee, transferred out. And, you know, he has the ability to run and throw and constantly move. I do think that Juju's a little bit more accurate as far as the throwing goes. I think he's a little bit more polished in comparison at his age, in comparison of age. I think he's more polished than what Caden was coming as a young guy. But is there anybody in spring practices, as we know those are about to begin this week, that you think the Colorado faithful need to keep their eyes on?
Zach Atkins, tight end.
Okay.
Everything I heard about Zach, I got a real good video on what I was hearing about winter workouts. I think I dropped it last week, so go check that on the channel. I had 9 names that I talked about that were flashing, and Zach Atkins is a guy that they're really excited about. Having that tight end position be a focal point in the offense, especially in the RPO game, is huge. It's usually the first read on RPO as a tight end, and he can do everything that he was built to be able to do. Former wide receiver, who and first guy in the weight room, last guy out, like, and they say that they really, really respect this guy. So Zach Atkins, the tight end transfer, somebody to watch.
All right, cool, man. We're going to keep an eye out on that, Dukes. I appreciate you coming through per the norm. The people love having you, man. Let the people know where they can find you.
Yeah, social media at Dukes D Scoop, DUKESTHESCOOP. On YouTube, Dukes D Scoop. Just search my channel, man. Find the Scoop with Dukes. Hey, Scoop and Dukes, find it, man. You'll find my content, man. I've got some Colorado content, some Auburn content. I go live. We just kick it barbershop talk on Monday nights. So yeah, man, come by, kick it, come remember, whatever. Hey, just come over. I appreciate it.
Come hang out with the man. We appreciate you joining the channel. Hey, hit your like, subscribe button. All his links are in the description below to not only the social media stuff as well as the channel. And yeah, we'll bring Dukes back on again in the near future. Chop it up soon.